For me, one of the most compelling things about the show Yellowstone entirely pivots around its writer-director, Taylor Sheridan. I have become such a fan of who this director is. I learned that he has written every single line of dialogue since season 1 all the way to the present of Yellowstone. That is phenomenal. In fact, when you actually hear Taylor talk about his experience as an actor, he'll actually give some anecdotes about what it was like. And he ended up being one of the sheriffs in Sons of Anarchy, and they were going through a negotiation for him to be able to make more money, because I think he was originally just hired as a guest star. And then when he started actually becoming like 11th down on the call sheet, they wanted him to get paid more. And at the end of the day, it basically just came back to him. And it's like, yeah, but you're 11th down on the call sheet. And there was a sense in which that was all he was ever going to be. So he left acting. He's like, I don't want to waste the rest of my life doing this. And someone asked him, I believe it was the first episode for the mayor of Kingstown, which is also an incredible show to talk about. And I've watched all of that, and it's a very hard show to watch. The themes in it are very dark and difficult, but it's fascinating to see even what he's doing with the characters, and Jeremy Renner plays the lead in that. And the first episode I think he ever wrote of television was the mayor of Kingstown. And he said he just kind of whipped it out, and it was there, and he was like, I could do this. I should have been doing this a lot sooner. So he understands character, narrative, and dialogue. One of the things that the actress who plays Monica Dutton, Kelsey Aspel, she had also been in Wind River, which Taylor Sheridan had directed with Jeremy Renner and Elizabeth Olsen. The movie was so phenomenal. It should have been nominated for Best Oscar of that year, and I think maybe some of that had to do with the politics of Miramax at the time, and they couldn't get it out of Miramax fast enough when all the stuff with the Weinsteins was going down. That movie, if you have not seen that movie, that is one of the most effective films. And one of the things that Taylor does all throughout Wind River is he has so much confidence in his performers. He has so much confidence in his actors. He's willing to just stay with them in the moment. He's willing to just let the camera sit there in awkward silence, and you get to see the little subtleties in his performers' faces, and the racism that is being explored in Wind River. You can feel, you want to cry. You can feel the quivering within the pain of some of the Native Americans on the reservation that are struggling with their plight in life due to the racism and due to the oppression. And so when he tells a story, his actors, and Jeremy Renner talks about this, they trust him as a director. They're willing to go there with him and to go into deep places. The film's very hard to watch, and yet it's so deep. It really takes you in. And what Monica Dutton was talking about is how Taylor Sheridan actually defies the genres that he is telling the narrative within. So when you're dealing with Yellowstone, you are put into this conflict of worldviews. And even though there is a certain celebration of the Dutton Ranch and the Dutton family that's trying to fight for the preservation of their traditions, the preservation of their legacy, and the preservations of their conservative values, he really makes you wrestle with the conflict between even them and the Native Americans that are on the Indian reservation, and to what degree did they steal the land from them? To what degree, when that land was actually entrusted to them by the original Native Americans that gave it to them in 1883, to what degree did they not give it back, which we will explore probably in the next spinoff. You deal with the conflict of their socioeconomic plight, but you're also dealing with the conflict of the modern progressive, the entrepreneur that wants to just come in and kind of turn Montana into a Disneyland theme park for the rich people to be able to pretend that they're cowboys, to be able to fly in and pretend that they're in touch with the land, even though they're really just there to strip the land and to ruin what it is that families like the Dutton Ranch are trying to preserve. And the answers and the dialogue and the characters and the narrative that Taylor puts us into, it's not black and white. And this is what's so surprising about some of the criticism of the show or reactions to the show that aren't necessarily based in particular like narrative or writing, but more in the issues or the worldviews that Taylor is forcing us to wrestle with in the show. He does not just beat us over the head with a political bias, and he's not just hitting his audience over the head with some agenda. He actually is willing to wade into the complexities and the nuances and force us to wrestle with the fact that it's not black and white. I really appreciate that about him as a writer, as a director, and it's what makes this show not just so entertaining, but genuinely thoughtful about the issues that it raises.